Windows Longhorn, the rotting giant. In the early 2000s, Microsoft attempted to build the OS of the future. Codenamed Longhorn, it was supposed to feature a revolutionary file system and a 3D interface that would change everything. But instead of a masterpiece, they built a monster. The code was so bloated and interconnected that the OS began to rot from the inside out. Developers would fix one bug, and 10 more would appear in totally unrelated features. It was a memory-leaking nightmare that became so unstable it was essentially unusable. By 2004, Microsoft realized they were steering a sinking ship. They famously hit the reset button, trashing years of work to build what eventually became the much-maligned Windows Vista. Today, surviving builds of Longhorn are like digital fossils, ghostly, broken remnants of a future that was too bloated to exist. Using it today feels like walking through a half-finished mansion where the walls are melting and the floor disappears beneath your feet. It is a billion-dollar monument to corporate hubris, a cursed prototype that was so broken it nearly took the world's largest software company down with it. If you find a copy online, be warned, it doesn't just run poorly, it feels like it's actively dying while you watch. Suicide Linux, type or die. We've all made a typo. Usually, you just hit backspace and move on with your life. In Suicide Linux, a typo is a death sentence for your data. This isn't just a bad operating system, it's a high-stakes psychological experiment. It's a standard Debian-based distribution, but with one cursed modification. Any command that isn't recognized by the shell is automatically redirected to a script that wipes your entire hard drive. For the non-coders out there, that is the digital equivalent of a self-destruct button. It turns a simple session of checking emails or coding into a sweat-inducing game of Russian roulette. There is no "Are you sure?" prompt. There is no recycle bin. One fat finger mistake, typing SL instead of LS, and your entire digital life is vaporized in milliseconds. It turns the act of computing into a survival horror game. It's the ultimate git-gut of the tech world, and it's absolutely terrifying to witness. It's a system designed for the perfect, the arrogant, or the clinically insane. Most people who install it end up with a blank hard drive within 10 minutes, proving that in the world of Suicide Linux, the only winning move is not to type at all. Apartheid OS. The poisoned kernel. The cursed nature of software isn't always about bugs. Sometimes it's about the soul of the creator. Apartheid OS is a 2012 Linux distribution that is widely considered the most toxic piece of software ever compiled. Created by an anonymous white supremacist group, the OS was customized with hateful imagery, racist fonts, and built-in tools designed for online harassment and extremist coordination. It's a digital artifact of pure bile. Because it was hosted on obscure servers and eventually scrubbed by web hosts, it has become a dark legend in the Linux community. Most people who go looking for it today find nothing but broken links and warnings from cybersecurity experts. It is cursed not just because of its content, but because of its sticky nature. It was reportedly bundled with malware that made it difficult to uninstall, as if the OS itself wanted to infect your hardware with its ideology. It serves as a grim reminder that code can be a weapon of hate, a digital scar on the history of open source software that most people would prefer to stay buried forever. It is the dark web of operating systems, a place where no one should ever want to boot up. The Null OS alien logic. Most programming languages are designed for humans to eventually understand. Then there's Malbolge, named after the 8th circle of hell. It was designed to be impossible to program. Now, imagine an operating system written in that or other esoteric languages. These Null OS experiments feel like they were written by an alien intelligence that doesn't understand human thought. The logic is circular, the commands are nonsensical, and the output is often just noise or flashing colors. Navigating these systems feels like a digital fever dream, where the laws of physics have been replaced by static. There is no start menu. There is only a void of incomprehensible symbols that seem to change every time you look at them. It's the cursed OS for the elite, those who want to prove they can speak a language that was literally designed to be unspoken. It's software as a Lovecraftian ritual. The more you try to understand how it works, the more your own brain feels like it's crashing. It's not just user-unfriendly, it is actively hostile to the concept of being understood. It is a ghost in the machine that speaks in a tongue no living person was ever meant to hear. PonyOS, the uncanny valley. On the surface, PonyOS looks like a joke or a colourful prank. It's a hobbyist OS based on My Little Pony, filled with neon pinks, bright blues, and big-eyed cartoon characters staring back at you from every window. But that's what makes it truly cursed, the uncanny valley effect. Underneath the sparkles and the pony icons is a shockingly competent, fully functional Unix-like kernel called Toru OS. The amount of genuine, high-level engineering talent poured into a system designed for bronies is staggering. It feels wrong to perform complex system administration or C-level coding while being cheered on by a neon pink cartoon horse. It's a psychological fever dream that blurs the line between a serious technical achievement and a meme that went way too far. It's the kind of thing you'd find on a computer in a horror movie right before the lights go out. Using it makes you feel like you're trapped in a 2012 internet forum that has gained sentience. It is the pinkest, most polished nightmare you will ever boot from a USB drive, proving that sometimes the most unsettling things are the ones wrapped in the brightest packaging. ChaosOS. Hardware Russian Roulette. While most cursed systems attack your data or your sanity, ChaosOS attacks your wallet. This is an experimental kernel where the basic logic of the computer is tied to a true random number generator. In a normal computer, the command to open file does exactly that. In ChaosOS, the computer might decide that open file actually means delete kernel or send random emails. But the truly cursed part is its lack of hardware safeguards. It has been known to randomly overclock processors to dangerous levels or disable cooling fans just to see how the system reacts to the heat. It treats the physical components of your computer as disposable resources in a chaotic game of chance. It is quite literally a suicidal kernel. Running it isn't just a risk to your files, it's a physical risk to the machine sitting on your desk. There have been reports of hobbyists running ChaosOS only to have their motherboards literally start smoking as the OS decided to pump maximum voltage into the circuits for no reason. It is the forbidden fruit of the hardware world, a system that is only happy when it is destroying itself. Lisp machines, the lost civilization. In the 1980s, these weren't just computers, they were the god-tier machines of the early AI world. Lisp machines were designed to run a language so advanced and flexible it felt like magic. But when the AI winter hit, the companies went bankrupt almost overnight, leaving these incredibly powerful, thinking machines to become literal e-waste. Booting one up today feels like performing a seance in a graveyard. You are interacting with a dead branch of computer evolution, a system that was smarter and more modular than the Macs and PCs we use today, but was simply abandoned by history. The UI is alien, the keyboard has more keys than a piano, and the whole experience feels like finding a working smartphone in an ancient Egyptian tomb. It is the ghost of a future we weren't ready for. There's an eerie silence when you use one. You can feel the complexity of a lost civilization humming in the circuits. It's a reminder that in the tech world, being the best doesn't mean you survive. These machines are the haunted relics of a digital Atlantis, waiting for someone to wake them up and realize what we lost. Amiga OS, the undead survivor. Finally, we have the Zombie OS. Amiga OS was the king of the late 80s, offering graphics and sound that wouldn't be matched by Windows for a decade. But when its parent company, Commodore, went bankrupt in 1994, the OS entered a cursed cycle of undeath. For over 30 years, the rights to the OS have been passed between failing companies, fought over in endless, soul-crushing lawsuits, and resurrected by a cult-like community that refuses to let it stay buried. It shouldn't exist in 2026. It has no right to still be getting updates or having new hardware developed for it. And yet, there is a global network of Amiga files who treat it like a holy relic. It is a digital ghost kept on life support by sheer willpower. Using it today feels like stepping into an alternate dimension where 1995 never ended. It is a zombie that refuses to stay in its grave, proving that sometimes a cursed OS is simply one that is too stubborn to disappear. It is the ultimate survivor, a flickering light from the past that refuses to be blown out by the winds of progress.